Day 11. Yes, I am filming this in my car because, believe it or not, as if today couldn't get any more difficult, I have no power in my house and my phone died. So, yeah, that's where we're at with this. I have so many things that I want to say, and it's been really difficult for me to put it into words. So I'm going to try my best just to get through this and without getting teary. And I thought that I would begin with sharing how my day went, my 9/11 story. And I know everybody remembers exactly where they were and what they were doing. And for me, I don't have that much clarity around it. I guess that's what trauma does, right? So I remember the morning, and that's about it. My day was ordinary, except for the fact that I stayed in bed. Vincent, my oldest, went off to school, and the little ones, for some reason, slept in. And like I said in the last video, I had complications from a miscarriage, and I wasn't feeling great, so I laid back down, and my phone was ringing off the hook. I didn't answer it. I thought that it was just my regular morning phone calls, people that, my family and friends that I would speak to daily. And then I heard my dad leaving a voicemail, so I went to pick that up because he doesn't normally call me. And he asked me where Jeff was, and I said he was working. So he was the first person to tell me that a plane had crashed into the World Trade Center, and he had seen it. He had watched it himself from his office across the river in Jersey City. So I was not scared right away. I was actually a bit excited because he said it was a big fire. Jeff loved fire, and I felt like he would be excited to be able to do his job. I think the fear didn't really register until after the second plane hit, and I was on the phone with my father still, and he said, he was like, holy shit, there's another plane. And we knew then that it wasn't an accident, that it was some sort of a coordinated attack. And my fear was not just for Jeff being in the middle of something like that. My fear was also for myself and my family, my kids. I was by myself with my babies, and one of them wasn't even with me, and there was so much uncertainty. So I was kind of glued to the TV, and as everyone was, and then all of these the plane crashing into the Pentagon, the crash in Shanksville, unaccounted planes not being able to be found by air traffic controllers, and all of this insanity happening. And I was trying to call the firehouse, and phone service was spotty. Bridges are closed, tunnels are closed, all of that. And when the towers fell, I immediately went into a state of denial. Immediately. My brain kicked into some kinds of protective response, and it was as if I wasn't even in my body. I didn't think for a second that he had died, but I knew that I was thinking, just from what I saw on TV, that if he was in those buildings, that he could be hurt, and that the fire department someone would come and pick me up and bring me to him. And so I wanted to make sure I had sitters ready. My family came to my house, and obviously I was never picked up. And I wasn't able to get in touch with anyone. I didn't know what was going on. It was basically a waiting game. And that waiting game, as you know, continued for weeks on end. The word unaccounted for, it's one of those things that stays in your mind, you know. And now let's fast forward to what my day was like today. I woke up in New York City. Yesterday, I was so unsettled. I couldn't figure out what I needed, what I wanted. I couldn't get myself relaxed. So I was trying to feel into what would support me right now, what would make me feel good. And I just wanted to be in the city. I wanted to be around the guys from the firehouse and just people that had a shared experience with me. I wanted to go to the memorial. I wanted to go to O'Hara's. So I did, and it was exactly what I needed. We shared stories of just all of our experiences post 9/11, how we navigated the whole thing. Some of them are sad, some of them are hilariously funny, but what stood out for me yesterday was just how many years have gone by and how together as a community we pulled each other through. And then in the morning, this morning, I woke up early, watched the sunrise over the memorial, and went to have breakfast at the firehouse. And I don't normally do that because 9/11 under ordinary circumstances is mayhem at Ten House, because we're right by Ground Zero. The ceremony is there, and you know, there are people in and out, so it's hard to just have personal, private time. And because of COVID, things are scaled back a lot, and it was just me and the guys in the kitchen. And I had a moment where I thought to myself, at this time, 19 years ago, he was still alive. He was right here where I am. And I was curious, like, I wonder what he was doing. Was he checking the rig? Was he having a cup of coffee? Was he, you know, talking to the guys, maybe busting somebody's chops? Was he in the TV room? What was he doing? And I guess what I know for sure is that he didn't know that in about 3.5 hours, he would die. And that idea just hit me like a ton of bricks, because none of us know when our time is up. None of us, even people that are terminally ill, you don't know exactly when you're going to leave this body. And being faced with your own mortality makes you ask the question, what mark am I leaving in this world? What good am I doing? So that's what my lesson is for today. Paying it forward. When you're able to put your own broken pieces back together and you have that experience and you gain that wisdom, please share it. You know, there are so many people that need help. I see always on September 11th, I get a million texts. I appreciate all of them. I get phone calls. I get, DMs, everything. I see people posting pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. And I appreciate all of it. But the truth is that more important than memes and pictures and hashtags is living life in a way that they are remembered. Whether it's someone who died on 9/11, whether it's someone who sacrificed their life in the military, whether it was a civilian who, gave up their life helping somebody else. No matter what the circumstances, you keep their memory alive by paying it forward. You keep their memory alive by living the way that they would want you to live. You know, a lot of people that I know, family members even, they focus so much on their own stuff and their own I don't know what it is, like need for attention or need for acknowledgement, maybe, that they forget that this is bigger than them, you know? Yeah, we were all affected by 9/11. And the beautiful part of 9/11 was the way that people came together, the way that people were helping each other. It's what you leave behind. You can't take any of this with you, right? So it's the legacy that you leave. I have been fortunate enough to be able to pay it forward by supporting our military through different nonprofits, and that leads me to the other thing that I want to say about today. 9/11 is part of history, and for me, it's my past. Yes, it plays into my every moment, but the actual event happens in the past. Right now, there are military families that are still living 9/11. Their husbands, their wives are deployed overseas, protecting us, protecting our freedoms, making sure that another 9/11 doesn't happen. And we don't mention that, you know? I think that people forget that. I think people forget that there are others still dying. I feel like I'm off on a tangent. And like I said, I can't pull all of my thoughts together. But for today, think about the mark that you're leaving on the world. Think about how your choices affect other people. Think about what you could do to give back instead of always being the taker, right? I mean, a lot of 9/11 came down to money. Like, my husband's life had a price tag on it. It's disgusting, honestly. But I'm not going to get into that. Give. Do not be someone who is constantly taking, who always makes everything about them. Pay it forward. And remember those that are out there on the front lines protecting you and your family and your right to free speech. Your right to choose whatever political party you want to support or bash. Life is short. So I'm going to end this with one last reading. And it is a letter that I wrote to Jeff after 9/11. It's hard to do this with one hand. And I could still write this exact letter today. The theme, by the way, of 2020 for me, for this anniversary, has been love letters. I dug up all these letters that Jeff and I had written to each other, and then my daughter sent me a song that Bruce Springsteen released today called The Letter That I Wrote You. And then at the bottom of this, I wrote love letters for, it was something that the Staten Island Advance did. I never submitted it because I wanted to keep it sacred. But I'm going to share it with you because you have held my story, like literally wrapped your hearts around it. And for that, I am so grateful. Anyway, here's the letter. My dearest angel, Jeff, I wake up every morning with your name on my lips, an unspoken pain brought about by the same amount of intense love that has not and never will fade. Some of my days bring joy, others great disappointment. All are reminders of how empty and lonely we feel. All are reminders of how much we all miss you, myself, Vincent, Tori Rose, Noah, our family and friends. Thank you for all that you were and continue to be to all who knew you. Thank you for teaching me about life and what was truly in your soul. Thank you for giving me strength when I feel I can't handle this cross anymore, or at least sending such earthly angels into my life to help me carry it. Thank you for loving me and our children and for letting us love you. But most of all, thank you for being a living example before 9/11 of all that was right in our world and for being strong enough to protect that. And know that at the end of my day, no matter how good or bad it is, I go to bed with your name still burning on my lips. I love you eternally, Denise. So I leave you with that. I leave you with the idea that whatever you've gone through, it holds meaning, and you can infuse your life with purpose by taking your pain and helping other people with theirs, right? Creating communities, even if it's on the smallest level, and no one's saying you have to share your story because some stories are just too painful to put out there. But do good, leave your mark in the world, carry on the legacy of men like Jeff and all these other courageous people that we're surrounded by. Be one of those courageous people. Don't be someone who just talks a lot of shit but doesn't show up when they should. I love all of you, and from the bottom of my heart, oh my goodness, and my soul, I thank you for listening to me for all of these hours and for supporting me around this time. This was like an incredible project for me, and you gave my husband's story more purpose. You gave it more meaning. You have helped me heal even further. That's how the real healing happens. Help other people heal and you magnify your own healing. Trust me, it is true. That is how we develop resilience. So I am going to continue this community. I just need a day or two, and we'll figure out a way to maintain this platform because it's really too good to let it go. And in honoring the theme of this year, I had a 100% yes response to people wanting to receive something in their inboxes. And I'm not going to call it a newsletter because I don't have any, I don't want to talk about the news. I'm going to call it a love letter because I want it to be about that. I want it to be about spreading love and joy and all good things. Okay? So I will see you on here again soon. My family thanks you for all of the love and support and just helping me keep his name alive and spoken. Have a good one.